because it's not only an opportunity for you to hear from me, but it's a great opportunity for me to hear from you. There are tough times in America. We all know that. And we need to hear, talk, and have a conversation amongst us as to how we can find ways and get this country moving again and back on its feet. I'd like to mention just a couple of things to you very briefly, and I'll mention a couple of issues, and then we will open it up for questions and comments. First of all, I traveled to Columbus Junction, Iowa today to look at the damage that's been done by the floods. It's terrible. It's ripping all across the state of Iowa, parts of Illinois, Missouri, as you know, and even several counties in the state of Minnesota have been affected by this terrible tragedy. People have been driven from their homes, but there's been a great reaction from the state, from the local and the government authorities, and we all know that our thoughts and prayers will go out to all of the families who have been so badly affected by this terrible flooding situation. One issue that I'd like to bring up with you, and be glad to discuss it further with you, is an event that just happened today. As you know, since the Watergate scandal of the 1970s, we enacted a campaign finance reform law. And by the way, I'm very proud. It's the second campaign finance reform, major one, was enacted by me and Senator Russ Feingold in a bipartisan fashion. But that reform provided for public financing of general campaigns, election campaigns. In other words, after the conventions that you apply for and receive, the nominees of the major parties apply for and receive public funding. Every candidate, presidential candidate, since then has made use of that. And Senator Obama announced today that he was not going to take public financing. That'll be the first president nominee candidate for President of the United States since the Watergate reforms that has not done so. And also, and obviously I'm very disappointed because whenever you go back on your word to the American people, it erodes the trust that they have in all of us. And Senator Obama made it very clear about a year ago, actually not even a year ago, that he would take public financing if the Republican nominee did. I have committed to taking public financing, as you know. And Senator Obama, in response to a questionnaire by the Midwest Democracy Network, presidential candidate questionnaire, this was released in November of 2007, the question was, if you are the nominee, I'll give you the exact words, if you're nominated for president in 2008, and your major opponent agreed to forego private funding in the general election campaign, will you participate in the presidential financing system? Senator Obama answered, yes. Then he goes on to say, I've been a long-time advocate for public financing of campaigns, etc., etc. Last sentence, and by the way, you can go on the internet and read this yourself. He said, quote, if I am the Democratic nominee, I will aggressively pursue an agreement with the Republican nominee to preserve a publicly financed general election. My friends, the facts speak for themselves. I strongly feel that Senator Obama ought to review his commitment, not to me, but to the American people, which he has obviously gone back on. So, and second of all, I would also like to mention that, as I said, town hall meetings are important. I'd like for Senator Obama, I'm inviting him for us to do town hall meetings across this country. As many of you, as some may recall in this room, Barry Goldwater and President Kennedy, back before the 1964 election, had agreed to fly around the country and debate each other and have town hall meetings around the country. Unfortunately and tragically, the tragedy in Dallas occurred, so they were unable to do that. Barry Goldwater was going to fly them himself. Barry Goldwater is a great pilot, by the way. I don't offer to fly. So I'm not a great pilot. Thought I was good. Thought I was good until I intercepted the surface air missile with my own airplane. But let's do this town hall meetings. Then that way you don't have spin rooms, that way you don't have the gotcha questions, and you don't have the votes taken out of context, et cetera, et cetera. So I asked again.